Hi SJM teams, Melanie Mochatla here from Common Good. I'm your SJM coach across the Common Ground congregations and want to thank you for joining us for the Together for Justice event. Wow, this isn't what we pictured. We wanted to all be together to do some cross-learning and inspire you to continue your justice work in your spheres. But here we are sitting at home and just wanted to touch base and remind you that we can still be planning towards the future. We can still be working right now on being a blessing to others. And I hope that's what this video does as we learn together online. If you've been following along with the Common Ground sermon series, we've been going through the book of Mark, and I wanted to start us off with a little kind of tidbit that I've been really thinking about. So in Mark 2, when Jesus is calling Levi, the follow me instruction just really got me. In one of the sermons that we listened to recently, it was described that follow me really meant that we are to be like Jesus, become like him, and do what he did. So that instruction of follow me and being a disciple was really active in that progression. If you continue on in Luke 3, it talks about the 12 being called and everybody coming together. So what was their purpose? Why did he spend so much time with the 12? So it said that Jesus, when he appointed the 12, which he also named apostles, this is 3 verse 14, so that they might be with him and that he might send them out. So in this time where we are locked at home, we can still be with Jesus. We can still be a part of our plan to affect the nations and share the gospel and be a blessing. But this is our time set apart to be with Jesus. So this is our time set apart to really grow and become more like him, determined to transform our character. And then once that's over, once we are released to be sent out, then we can go do what Jesus did. So that's what I'm hoping that this online learning does. And yeah, I really encourage you to continue to think outside the box and how we can still be SJM teams. So let me talk a little bit about some neighborhood impact. So I bet you're thinking, gosh, that's a strange thing to be talking about in a time when we are locked in our homes. But I actually think thinking about neighborhood impact right now is really crucial. Not only how can we bless our neighbors and how can we be a part of what's going on in our city, but let's be strategic. Let's look at things that we haven't had time to do before. And the last few meetings we've had, we've talked about our teams, restructuring our teams. We've also talked about mapping your neighborhood. So we want to give you some instructions and encouragement on how to do that. So your SJM leader has been given a link to our Google Drive that's got lots of documents in there on how-tos, how to orientate your team, how to understand the big picture of an SJM team in the Common Ground story, how to run a movie night, how to run a justice journey. But what I really want to point you to right now is how to map your neighborhood. But I want to start with why. Why do you map your neighborhood? And I want to read you a couple things. We do this to take stock of the resources, activities, diversity, problems, and opportunities in our area. We don't want church or our church building to become something that we go to, but we actually don't know the surroundings. We go to this place to be filled up or to serve on a Sunday, and then we actually ignore all the things around us. So we as Common Ground churches want to be better at impacting our neighborhood, which is also the second part of our mandate as SJM teams. We do this also to understand the characteristics and assets. We do this to identify places of blessing and safety. Where is your neighborhood flourishing? But where are there also challenges and hindrances and poverty? The discernment process is always really important here, and we want you to do this as a team. Discern what your church needs to be involved in. And this doesn't mean everything you map, you must touch and you must be a part somehow. But we want you to use the Spirit, use your team, use your elders, use your congregation leader to really discern where is God leading, what capacity do we have, and how do we put that into action. So in this document are lots of questions from A to how do you decide what the radius of our neighborhood is, all the way down to the discernment process. And the last thing I want to point your attention to is an activity that we've put on our blog called gleaning. And we know from the Old Testament that gleaning is a concept of leaving what is fallen on the ground, or leaving certain portions of a field so that those in need can come and get what they need from a harvest. Well, this is a time that we can really teach justice and giving and blessing to our children, to those in our family, or even coach our own hearts to be more aware. So we've put some categories together: stationery, books, clothes, sporting equipment. And while right now we don't have a donation place and we don't want you to leave your house, but we know these are categories that people have asked us for donations in the past. And we would like you to, while you're homebound, look around your house for things that you can simplify your own life and spaces, and really look to bless others in need. We will give a little more input on that after COVID-19 lockdown's over. But right now, we want you to look around your spaces and be ready to be a blessing to others. So those are the things that we've got for you right now. I'm also going to post a couple questions on our leaders WhatsApp group and do some cross-learning about what are your congregations doing, not only in this time, but what have you planned to do this year, and how can we continue to help that plan, maybe learn from other congregations of what they're doing. So SJM teams, we are so grateful for you. We know that this time is not in vain and the Lord is going to use it. But let's be strategic and not forget that even while we are homebound, that we can continue thinking towards justice in our city.